Hey there, puppers, and welcome to another tier maker. Alright, so, I'm tolerable with Tim Burton movies. I find they're either really good or pretty bad.
Yeah.
But you are more of a Tim Burton fan.
Yes.
Okay, so we've decided to rank the Tim Burton movies.
Surprisingly, there's a lot I haven't seen, though,
There's only 4 I haven't seen. So there's 19 movies in total.
Yes.
We'll give our overall thoughts, and then we'll rank them. And since there's only 19 entries, we're going to compare each. We're going to
put them in order.
Yep, put them in order from least favorite to favorite. And we'll try to compromise. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, we have Ed Wood. Have you seen Ed Wood?
I have seen Ed Wood.
I have seen Ed Wood as well. I think it's either a C or a B.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I would probably put it B tier.
B tier. I like how wholesome it is.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Ed Wood, like the actual Ed Wood, the director?
Not too terribly much.
So I didn't watch too many of his films, but I did learn that like he made a lot of B movies.
Oh.
And they were like really bad. But he loved them. He passionately wanted to make movies, and he was very passionate about and very strict about like the vision that he had.
Yeah.
Even though like they were very like had wooden acting, were very like goofy for lack of a better term, you could see that like for someone like Tim Burton it was very inspirational.
Yeah.
And I think Tim Burton did a good job of capturing that passion in the movie.
I would agree. Yeah,
all right.
I like that one.
So next up is Alice in Wonderland. I do not think too highly of this film.
I know you don't. The
so
movie
basically
itself,
the game is now convince me not to put it in D.
Okay, so the only reason I wouldn't put it down so low is because it does capture like the whimsy and the danger of Wonderland, but it does combine a lot of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. I did a whole video on it. Mm-hmm. Check it out. But I think that it should go higher because you can also see that, like, there is a lot of truth to Alice in Wonderland, the book, in the movie. And even though some artistic liberties were taken, I
like
think
the
that...
prophecy.
The what?
The prophecy.
Yeah.
It's the girl of prophecy. I'm like,
yeah.
When the fuck was Alice in Wonderland a story about the prophecy? The chosen one.
But it is like, it is a nifty way to kind of make a cohesive movie. So I think that it captures the essence of Alice in Wonderland without being an exact replica. If I had my way, I wouldn't call this one Alice in Wonderland. I would call it something else and then put like based off of Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
But I know I like it more than you. I think C is a compromise because I would put it in B, and I know you would put it in D.
Well, if you were to put it in B, would you put it below or above Ed Wood?
Below.
All right, then I can at least put it in B for now, but I might move it down.
Okay.
Batman, the original Batman starring Michael Keaton.
I fucking love Batman. I can't help it.
That is an A for me.
Yeah.
I've grown to where like it's no longer my favorite Batman movie,
yeah.
but it's still a really damn good Batman movie, and I love that Gotham looks like Gotham. It doesn't look like a city. It doesn't look like Pittsburgh. It doesn't look like Chicago. It looks like Gotham.
Yeah.
Tim Burton's vision of the city was chef's kiss.
Yeah, I would agree.
And Michael Keaton is a damn good Batman.
Yeah, I like Batman.
Now, Batman Returns is more of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, that one I wouldn't put it so high.
Okay. Would you put it in B, or would you even put it lower? B for Batman?
I feel like if you were asking me this 10 years ago, I'd put it in B, but I feel like asking me now, I'd probably put it in C.
Whoa. Okay, so now we have a problem here. Because
I'm fine with it being at the end of B.
Significantly like this more than Alice in Wonderland.
Whereas I don't know.
What is your issue with Batman Returns?
Again,
is it like the too much Tim Burton?
No. keep in mind, it has been a very long time since I've seen both of these Batman movies.
Really?
So I definitely could be misconstruing which Batman movie it is.
I watched the original at least every like 4 to 5 years. It's been close to a decade since I've seen Returns.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. And so, okay, so this is going to depend. if it's a yes or no. If the answer to this question is yes, then I would definitely, that is my reason, and I would move it.
All right.
If the answer is no, then I'm misremembering, and I would be fine with leaving it where it is.
Very well.
Is this the nipple Batman?
No.
Okay, it's fine. I can't remember.
That's Joel Schumacher. As soon as you said that, I said,
That's like, I'm just like,
right.
no. I just remember, even as a child, I was like, I fucking hate that.
No, that's Joel Schumacher.
Okay.
Those movies are Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And to make a long story short, they wanted Tim Burton out because Batman Returns was too dark. And when Michael Keaton saw what Forever was going to be, he said, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not a fan of this vision. You get someone else. I'm done.
Yeah.
And Keaton walked away.
Bruh.
So are we fine with it being like in the middle then?
I'm okay
because
with that.
it is not nipple Batman?
Yeah, it's not nipple Batman. There's weird things that stick out in my head in certain movies that make me remember which movie it is. And because it's not nipple Batman, I know that it's not the movie that I dislike.
Okay.
So.
All right, then I can settle for being right here. Big Eyes. I have not seen Big Eyes.
I have not seen it either.
All right, so we will put that in the didn't see because there's 3 other movies that I haven't seen, but I at least are familiar with it.
Okay.
And some of them I have seen clips of, just not the whole way through. So I haven't had a viewing. All right, now, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I feel like this is going to be another one we disagree on.
I've moved up a little bit.
Okay.
Since I've actually latched on to like the kind of like I hate my life humor.
Yeah.
And like I hate you too.
Okay.
So I'd pull it up to a C. I could even put it like right above Alice in Wonderland, but
I'm
it's
okay
like
with that.
right
Yeah.
in that category.
With like, I feel like if we could share a spot, I would share a spot with Alice. For almost the exact same reasons.
Like visually, I like it. Johnny Depp's, even though it's not Gene Wilder, it is a very interesting take, and I've grown to the character. I don't much care for the story.
That's exactly it. I don't like the whole sad dad backstory.
Yes.
I just feel like it's weird and it adds a layer of complication that doesn't need to be there.
Exactly.
But other than that, it's like, it's so close to the book. Yeah. So I'd be fine with it, like, before or behind Alice. I think that they fall really, really closely for me.
Honestly, I'd watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory before I'd give Alice another chance. I was not a fan of that movie. And it's also because it's part of that Disney live-action remake where it has... Yeah. It's one of the better ones, but it still has a lot of those things I do not like about those films.
Yeah.
Moving on to Dark Shadows. I've seen Dark Shadows once. It didn't leave much of an impression, so I'm going to give it to you.
I've seen it once as well.
Okay.
And I would agree. I remember enjoying it, but obviously I didn't enjoy it enough to watch it multiple times.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah.
I know it starred Johnny Depp, and it had music from Danny Elfman, I believe.
Yeah.
So that was the one movie where I felt like I was just going through the motions of a Tim Burton movie.
Like I said, I enjoyed it when I watched it, but not enough that I would care to rewatch it or, obsess over it like I did with some of his other movies.
Okay. Next up is Dumbo. I have not seen Dumbo.
I have not seen it either.
Here's the thing about Dumbo. The original Dumbo is not one of my favorite Disney movies.
I've
just a meh.
Never seen Dumbo.
So I wasn't rushing to see this. I already don't like the live action remake, so it's just like a live action remake of a movie I already don't like. I'm either surprisingly might like it, or I'm really gonna hate it.
Yeah. I've never seen Dumbo in general. So I don't have much of an opinion either way.
All right. So
I know that it was tagged for being like super racist.
Yes, the original was.
So I just don't really care much to see it.
Now next up,
who knows?
I actually have an opinion on Edward Scissorhands.
I would put this one at the top.
At the top? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, I was going to give it an A, and then you said at the top, and I'm just like, ugh, compared to Batman. I really love the original Batman. It's not my favorite Tim Burton movie, but it's up there.
The reason I feel like I love Edward Scissorhands so much is because it's such a perfect blend of weird.
Yeah.
So it's like, the story makes sense. I love the story.
Mm-hmm.
like, you can't help but love Edward because he's just so awkward and he wants nothing more than to love and be loved and have a family and things like that, but he just hurts everyone, and you can tell that it upsets him. But you have, like, his level of weird where he's, like, goth weird.
It's a fascinating movie that I didn't appreciate as a kid, so I had to rewatch it around my college years.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I get it now.
And I love, like, this Stepford Wives feel of, like, the neighborhood. Because that's its own brand of weird. So you have these two polar opposite weirds that come together, and it just works so nicely.
Okay.
So
I'm not willing to budge just yet. I will put it in A. I have trouble putting it above Batman.
Why?
Because Batman is such a important part. Like, that movie was what got me into Batman. That made me get into the animated series. I love the villain. I love the tone. I love the acting. I love the story. Like, it's just all those nice pieces. Whereas Edward Scissorhand falls more towards that's cute. Like, it's very emotional and it's very sad. But at the end of the day, if you put me to, do you want to be emotional or do you want to have a good superhero movie? My gut would go for the superhero movie. Does that make sense?
It does. I just don't agree with you.
That's fine. So we can share the A. I could even do this. But there can be only one S rank. And again, we can redo this at the end. But for now, that's where I'm going to put it. This is called, like, Miss Peregrine's, like,
School for Peculiar
Children.
I have not read it or seen the movie.
Me neither. So I'm sorry, but that one goes here for now.
I heard it's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, but I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet.
Okay. Because this movie and the next movie I haven't seen, but for Big Fish, I've seen pieces of. I'm aware of the premise. I'm aware I'm going to bawl my fucking eyes out, possibly.
I know nothing about Big Fish.
Okay, so Big Fish is basically about a father and son bond. And the father tells these ridiculous stories about growing up with giants. And I believe there's, like, a witch played by Helena Bonham Carter.
Naturally.
Of course. And the son, I don't know if he again, I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen bits and pieces. But the son's kind of like, I don't really know the real you because you just tell these ridiculous stories. And the father just kind of, like, doubles down and owns up to those ridiculous stories. So it's about trying to bond with a son who doesn't feel attached to his father. He feels he doesn't know his father. And the father, like, trying to express his genuine self through these ridiculous stories.
Okay.
And, like, it's about that bond. I'm just like, oh, fuck, I'm going to die.
I feel like we'd both probably
I'm going to bawl.
Be dehydrated afterwards.
So, like, this would be, out of all the ones that I haven't seen, this is the one that I actually want to see.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm ready for it, but if I go through life not seeing these three movies, I'll be like, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
I want to see this sometime in my life.
Okay.
Because it just seems like something that would interest me. With that aside, we move on to Frankenweenie, which is just a damn cute movie.
It is cute.
It's just...
It is cute.
I was watching it, like, early on when Disney Plus came out, and it was just a movie that I never saw, and I watched and I was just like, that was an enjoyable movie. It was just nice.
It's a cute movie.
It was quirky. I could see, like, the little, like, dark aspects that made Disney kind of, like, sweat a little bit.
Well, what made them sweat was originally it was live action. It was, like, an actual little kid, an actual dog. Like, so it made them uncomfortable because it was real.
Okay.
So I feel like they're more open whenever it's something animated or something claymation or stop motion. I feel like they're a little bit more open to it.
Ed Wood, move.
Ed Wood is like, never!
So we're fine with that?
I'm fine with that.
All right. We're moving into my S rank, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I think Beetlejuice is Tim Burton's best movie.
I literally just watched it.
It is so good.
Yeah.
I love the humor. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the actors.
Yeah.
It is, like, Michael Keaton in his prime, like, excellent Michael Keaton, the best Michael Keaton performance. I'm glad he's getting back into acting. He is such a fantastic actor. I love the visuals. I love the music. I love how Beetlejuice is kind of the bad guy.
Well, he is the bad guy.
Well, yeah. Well, in the first half, it's just like, oh, careful, and he's just like a prankster.
Yeah.
But as the movie goes on, I'm like, no, he's the villain.
Yeah. He's the bad guy. No,
Whereas
I really
you think
like
the
it.
uppity family that moves in, they're the bad guy. That's how the movie kind of paints it.
Yeah.
It's like the people moving into...
I think one of my favorite parts, honestly, at the end, which I don't know why I never caught it before. Like, growing up, I always thought, like, oh, Lydia moved in with them, and the ghosts are her parents now. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't necessarily realized that her actual parents were still there. And they were still, they were still her parents and they were still there. So, the dad is, actually getting, he hears the music and he's actually relaxed, which was his whole purpose for being there. Mm-hmm. And then, the mother with the Beetlejuice sculpture that scares the shit out of him. And she goes, it's perfect. Everyone is happy finally being there.
Yep.
So, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I don't know why I never caught that little tidbit before.
Oh, there goes Elvis. Hey, yo, King. Well, looks like I'm next.
Yeah.
I just love the character of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
He's like a villain, but he's a fun villain. You always want to watch him.
Yeah.
And you're kind of rooting for him, even though he's a little piece of shit. You're just kind of
I've seen The Exorcist 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every time.
So are we fine with Beetlejuice being above Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Mars Attacks is another, really fun movie. And I forgot, I have,
a love-hate with Mars Attacks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hear you out.
Okay, so I remember this was, the very first quote-unquote scary movie.
Oh, okay.
That I ever saw.
All right.
Way too young to watch it, first of all. And my mom hadn't really watched it before she let me and my brother watch it. And she was like, yeah, it's about aliens that come to invade Earth to get donuts. And we were like, oh, man, that sounds great. Let's watch it. So we're watching it. And, it just gets scarier for us because, we were little, And then when the aliens exploded the donut shop, I was like, they're not getting donuts, are they? So I remember just the very first time I watched it being really, really scared of it. And then there was the lady's head in a jar. It was just scary.
Okay.
But then I watched it again as a teenager and I thought it was funny.
Yeah. It's one of those great dark comedies.
Yeah. And then watching it as an adult, I was just kind of yeah, it's
So where would you put it?
I would put it in the middle ground.
So B or C? Because I like it. I would put it somewhere around here. My honest opinion. Maybe even here. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Because I enjoy it. It's one of those fun.
To me, it's more memorable than the other ones.
Sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
It's a sci-fi classic in my mind.
Yeah.
I have to watch Independence Day, Mars Attacks, Alien, the original Predator. It's just my favorite go-to alien movies, for lack of a better term. I was going to say extraterrestrial, but I'm not the biggest fan of E.T. That's for another day.
I don't remember E.T. at all.
Okay, that's for another day. We're talking about Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And next up is Corpse Bride.
Okay, so I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but I would put this either above Edward Scissorhands or next to Beetlejuice.
Wow.
I love this movie.
Wow. I was going to put something like that. Batman won't budge for me. It's very hard to budge Batman. But
hey, I'm making a lot of bends here. You gotta bend with me.
It's a shame that Nightmare Before Christmas isn't on here.
That's because of the contract with Disney.
Mm-hmm. But it would be right here or here.
Yeah.
I love The Nightmare Before Christmas.
See, whereas I love The Corpse Bride just as much.
Really?
Yeah.
I might need to give it another viewing.
I love the music. I love the premise. I love the characters.
See, I remember sneering at it when I saw the trailers.
But I also really love the end because it's not the end that's the happily ever after. Not everybody wins.
Correct.
So I really love that aspect of the movie. I just really enjoy it.
Okay.
And I also love the aesthetic.
Oh, yeah, the aesthetic
I guess I'm a sucker for a tall, skinny guy with dark hair.
I'll have to give it another watch because I've only seen it a handful of times, and it was actually Ariel that was just don't sleep on this, because she was listening to the soundtrack, and I'm like, what's this for? And she's like, and I'm like, what's this for? And she's like, Corpse Bride, and I'm just like, I never really thought much of that movie. And she's like, dude, check it out.
It's so good.
I checked it out. I was just like, you know what? Not bad.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, Miss really, really enjoyed it. Next up is Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I mean, we all know where I'd put this one, but... Yeah,
so you put it there?
I would.
I'd put it...
For me, I would.
Somewhere around here.
You and your fucking Batman. Just let me have something.
Well, come on. I can't lie and say, I love this
I know,
movie.
but this is our ranking, man. It's for both of us.
All right. I'm budging
love
on every
Pee-wee.
single one but
No,
Batman.
you're
It's hard.
not. No,
Yes, I
you're
am.
like, okay, this is fine, but it's not better than Batman.
what? Hello, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but I agreed with that one.
All right. All right.
You know, if I had control of the mouse, this thing would look a lot different.
All right, hang on. We got 3 left, and then we're going to give an honest, final ranking. All right? So, are we good with... All right, Edward Scissorhands or Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. All right, we're going to put Pee-wee there. Pee-wee's Big Adventure or Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
All right. So, that's where it's going to be for now. I think we can agree on this next one. Planet of the Apes is a piece of shit.
Yes.
I am not the biggest Planet of the Apes fan to begin with.
I was never a big
I
fan
understand
of
it has
Planet of
its
the
paw print in science fiction,
Would
but
it
I'm
be
just...
It wouldn't be a paw print. They have handprints.
God's sakes. This is why I don't budge.
You know what? I agreed that turtles are reptiles. Okay, I looked it up,
Start up this
and I
argument
knew
again.
that I was wrong, and I said I was wrong.
So yeah, Planet of the Apes, he tried, but it wasn't good.
Wasn't really much to work with.
That being said, Sleepy Hollow, on the other hand, is a real fucking banger.
Oh, it's a great movie.
That one's really good. I'd put this right above Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
Something has usurped Batman.
Well, yeah.
I would put it above Edward Scissorhands.
You'd put it above Edward Scissorhands, yeah. This is the really gothic Tim Burton that I really love, to where he does fantasy. Mm-hmm. He's doing a drama.
Well,
you have
I'm a bit biased because this is my absolute favorite Halloween story.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. I have a figurine of the Headless Horseman, and for someone who doesn't really like knickknacks, that's a big deal for me.
The Disney
if I have a figurine of it,
has a special place in my heart, but it's also quicker, so it's just a short.
Well, I mean, for
a meteor story, I go for this one.
Yeah, I love the book. I read the book every year. You know, it's just, I don't know what it is about it. I just really love the story of Sleepy Hollow.
And I remember, I don't think this movie's made by Tim Burton. It's not, or it would be on the list. But I saw The Brothers Grimm, thinking it would be more in line to Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. It wasn't.
No.
It was fine, but I was expecting more of a Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow. Ooh, a real gritty gothic.
No. It was just 2 dudes trying to get laid by princesses the whole time.
Pretty much, yep. And last but not least, we have Sweeney Todd.
I love this movie.
Which is really goddamn good. I like the music. I like how it's a tragic, the main characters,
See, it's difficult
it's a
for me
revenge
because,
story.
I love Pee-wee so much because it's such a massive part of my childhood.
Uh-huh. So now you understand why this guy's, slowly slipping away. It's a massive part of my childhood.
Yeah.
But I was surprised with how much I like Sweeney Todd, because I'm not the biggest fan of musicals.
How much you like Sweeney Todd, too.
I'm not the biggest fan of musicals. And as you can see, Tim Burton is very hit and miss for me. Even though I'm surprised with the amount of, hits I've given him.
Yeah.
The thing is, if I put him up against, other directors and other movies, he'd start falling down the line.
Whereas for me, I feel like he holds a steady place.
He holds a steady place?
Mainly because it's for me, if I can remember the name of a director, I loved their work.
Okay.
So it's I don't know who directed a lot of movies.
Oh, okay.
So even if I like the movie, I don't know who directed it.
Oh, fair.
And that it's unfortunate because it's not fair. If I love the movie,
See, I'm
I
like
should
that with
know
Spielberg.
who created it. But it's the fact that I know Tim Burton and I know what movies Tim Burton has directed lets me know okay, I really like him.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was a Spielberg, James Cameron kid.
Yeah, James Cameron is another one. I know his movies and I enjoy his work. You know, I love the research he puts into it. So, whereas Fight Club is one of my favorite movies, but I don't know who directed it.
Shit, I did. I kind of blanking right now. Well,
so it's one of those situations where if I know the director, then it must be good in my eyes because I'm not very good at remembering directors.
All right, so this is basically the ranking that I'd agree on, but what is something you would change right off the bat
Corpse
looking
Bride.
at this? Corpse Bride, where would you put it?
I would put it above Edward Scissorhands.
I can go with that. I do need to give it another viewing.
Yeah.
But I believe you. Like, I didn't dislike the movie.
Yeah.
I've just only seen it, I think, twice.
So my argument with Edward Scissorhands, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you.
No, you're fine.
With Edward Scissorhands and The Corpse Bride being above Batman is, in my humble opinion, just the way that I think, I feel like they're more dynamic of a movie.
Oh, okay.
So there's more themes going on that blend well together than there is in Batman.
Oh,
so
wow.
there's like, there's different types of relationships being formed. There's, storylines that are unique being formed that branch off into other storylines. And I just don't think Batman has as much depth.
Okay.
So, like, it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. It's a wonderful movie, but it is a superhero movie. They tend to lack some depth.
See, because, like, this was, like, solely a Tim Burton movie, and this was before a lot of the superhero movies became repetitive, like, this really had a special identity and a special place in my heart.
And I can agree with
but
that,
a lot of that
absolutely.
is nostalgia, because it's no longer my favorite Batman movie.
Yeah.
So... that's
No, I can
what
agree with that
really say
because,
to that.
I feel the same way with Pee-wee.
That being said, there was one thing about Corpse Bride where I was just like, ow. And that was the villain. It goes for like a twist villain kind of where I'm like, gee, I wonder who did it. I wonder why she's the Corpse Bride. And that villain just never did anything for me.
Yeah.
Oogie Boogie, he is not. Beetlejuice, he is not. He's just kind of eh.
See, I feel like he's similar to Oogie Boogie in the sense where, like, Oogie Boogie's the bad guy. That's not, I don't think that they were going...
so good to see on screen.
But I don't think that in The Corpse Bride, they weren't going for a twist villain. We knew who killed Emily. Like, from the very start, we knew who killed her. It was never a surprise. It was only a surprise
for the characters.
For her.
Okay.
So, because she didn't know who killed her.
Okay.
So, that was the surprise. The viewer knows the whole time.
Okay. Is there anything else you would change? Be honest.
No, I think I'm pretty satisfied.
All right. So, like, personally, I think this one's a little high compared to these two.
I would be okay if you put it after. Yeah, that's fair.
We're fine with
you
this?
moved down Batman for me.
I moved down Batman, moved down Pee-wee.
Yeah.
Because
I
had more
I can
fun
handle
watching
that.
you love watching Pee-wee than I had fun watching Pee-wee. I was just like, yep, this is an acquired taste.
It's such an odd movie.
It's
love
an
it.
odd
I love
movie,
it.
but it owns it.
My like absolute favorite part is when he's driving with Large Marge in the truck, going down the street, and it like all the road signs.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also the dance when he's at the bar, and he does like the dance in the platform shoes.
For some reason, I liked him just going on Exhibit B, Exhibit Q.
Yes.
Just like how adamant he is.
He's
to,
like, the bike
bring
is
the
here.
bring the whole town together. Just be like, my bike has been stolen, and he just goes into this egregious detail.
I love it.
And it's just like, oh, Pee-wee.
Pee-wee is the type of person I would hate to deal with in person. Like, if I saw Pee-wee come into my store, I would be like, no, fucking no, please. But to watch him in a movie trying to find his bike, I loved it.
Okay.
I loved every minute of it.
All right. So, at least we all agree that there is only one king.
Yeah.
And that is Beetlejuice.
Absolutely.
That is his magnum opus. Well, puppers, what do you guys think about our Tim Burton ranking? Where would you put these movies? And do you have a case for Planet of the Apes or Dark Shadows? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
because
we're open to it.
I can't stand this movie, but this one didn't leave an impression. So if you could convince me, I can give it another watch.
Yeah,
and maybe it can go up to here. So who knows?
It still won't go above Batman.
It still won't go above Batman.
But,
Is this tagging on to
this is tagging on to the games.
Petty?
Okay.
Yes, I knew it.
Mini side quest story here.
What is it with you and Batman?
Before he moved in with
Stop
me,
it.
he used to send me pictures because he made like all of these different pages explaining all of the games that he had and like, and just really did them up. They're really, really cool. And he started like sending me pictures of groups of games and was like, hey, pick which game you want me to do a page on next. And he put Batman in like 6 or 7 times and I still didn't pick it. And he was like, why haven't you picked Batman yet? And I was like, Oh, I don't know. I just saw games that I thought were more interesting that I wanted to know more about. But because you brought it up, I was like, now I'm never going to pick Batman. Batman is going to be the last game we play.
And now this has bled over into the movies.
And now it's...
Leave the poor guy alone.
I like
he
Batman.
Lost 2 parents.
I too have lost 2 parents.
Good night, everybody.
Toodles. Oh, you dug yourself your own grave.